So welcome everyone to the 2018 Preschool Mindfulness Summit. I'm really happy to invite our next guest and welcome her. Her name is Steph Van De Ven, and she is the founder and director of the Mindful Mama. She has lots of exciting things going on, making mindful jewelry, coaching children and adults in mindfulness techniques. And she has a really lovely children's book called The Birdie Book, which she might tell us a bit more about later on. So welcome, Steph.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's just start by talking a bit about how you got into this field, what drew you to it, and what you see as the main needs and benefits of teaching mindfulness to young children.
Sure. Well, the book started a couple of years ago. I've always practiced and been into mindfulness and meditation and spirituality, but it really jump-started for me a few years ago, and it was because I had been fired from my job, and I didn't know what to do. And it was a blessing in disguise, but I didn't know what to do with my life. I'd always loved writing. I'd always loved spirituality and meditation and mindfulness. And then I wrote the book, the Birdie Books, and then I put it all together and I started practicing more, taking more classes and courses and lessons. And as a result of the stress and anxiety that I felt, not only as someone who lost their job, but as someone who's a single parent, which is super stressful, right? I found my way through mindfulness, and it was amazing. And so through that practice, through the writing, through exploring and taking classes and learning, it has affected my life in a most profound way. And I feel so empowered and more strong and confident as a result. So the benefits are life-changing and altering. And, it's easy. It just takes one step, one little choice, like we were chatting about earlier, one breath, one shift, one little decision or choice to start the process. And it's, like I said, it's profound.
I totally agree. And I mean, you just talk to more and more people, and it really does have such an effect on people, and in a very short period of time. And it's pretty amazing. It doesn't mean that your life suddenly is perfect and bad things happen. Your kids don't have temper tantrums or anything.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
it just shifts the way that you think, doesn't it? And the way that you feel. And it is something I think that's really, really powerful. So very excited to hear more about how you're sharing that. So tell us a little bit about what you do with the coaching with parents and children. And I believe you have some online courses as well.
I do, yeah. I've got a course on, and I don't know how to pronounce it properly, so please correct me if you know. It's Udemy, I think, or Udemy?
Yeah.
Udemy?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on Udemy, and it's called Mindfulness 101. But my passion is to reach as many people as possible through mindfulness. And when I'm teaching kids, I'm teaching them practices. I'm teaching them proper breathing, not just breathing to survive, but breathing to thrive, to lessen anxiety, to lessen stresses. And these days, as we all know, kids have so many stresses and pressures. So let's help them to cope and self-regulate through breathing, right? And we'll do meditation practices, observation practices, trying to be in that present moment and teaching children, who are really great at doing that, by the way, right? They're naturals. They know, so it's about getting them to keep it as a ritual, as a habit into their daily lives. And that's important, right? And with the parents too, with moms and dads, grandparents, aunts, uncles, caregivers, a lot, and I'm in that boat, a lot of us don't understand the importance, or don't maybe really actually realize the importance of self-care first. And when we take care of ourselves first, then we can share that with our children and our families and our loved ones. And you've been on airplanes before, right? So the first thing that they say to you, the first thing they say to you when they're doing their instructions about, safety and stuff, if there's ever an emergency, you put the mask on yourself first, the breathing mask.
Yeah.
And then the other one's beside you, and it's the same thing in life. Take care of yourself first. So with moms, dads, caregivers, I'll teach them, again, self-care, to find time in their busy days, to find a few pockets or moments of mindfulness, breathing, focused energy and attention, maybe meditation. So it's it's a program, but it's a practice, right? I mean, you can't just jump into a Ferrari and start driving it away and you're, a pro. You have to actually take the lessons and learn. And it takes
do it once, and you have to keep that. Yeah,
that's exactly it. So
I love what you said about parents having that kind of self-care, because especially moms, I find they feel guilty. They want everything for the kids, or they want kids to take the mindfulness classes, and the kids are always modeling us, aren't they, and watching our
yes.
And so by doing that, you're actually giving your child a gift, because they'll just notice and pick things up and start naturally doing that anyways, won't they? So I love that's what you do first. So let's talk about some practical activities that you do with children, because I know a lot of the parents and teachers watching are always looking for new ideas of how to bring mindfulness to children. So can you just share some of the fun things that you do?
Sure. And it is actually fun, and I love doing it too. And I teach this to adults, but kids love this. So I teach a variety of different breathing techniques, and then the kids choose their favorite one. And I start with breathing because it's the number one thing that we do when we're worked up, when we're anxious, when we're excited. We don't breathe enough, and it furthers that tension and stress, right? So if you're okay with that, and I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I'd love to show you what I call squeeze breathing.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going to get my hands up on the screen like this. So I'll show you first, and then we can do it together if you like. So this is what I say. It's like Pac-Man or, a monster, and he's going to eat this finger right here, the thumb, and then you stick out your finger, your index finger here, and you grab that. So you've got sort of a good hold, right? So you do that, and then you rest it in your lap, sitting comfortably. And then we'll breathe in, and when we breathe in through our nose, we squeeze the one side. And then when we breathe out, we squeeze our finger or our thumb on the other side. And most kids love this because most kids are kinesthetic, right? And they really love this. And it's sneaky because it teaches the kids to breathe in a great, focused and present moment awareness way. But they also have to focus on what they're doing so they can't fidget or play with things, right? So that's one of my most successful breathing techniques. It's a little sneaky, but yeah, thank you. So that's one of the things that we'll do together. Yeah.
So everybody at home can try that out today.
Yeah.
That sounds like something, and I love that, especially with the preschoolers. They really need that tactile. Breath is so abstract, isn't it? So they have something, and it's their own body. That's even better that they can learn that way. So that's a fantastic one. Great.
Thanks.
Yeah. Maybe you can share one more, and then.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'd love to. So it's a toss-up between high-five breathing and aloha breathing. So high-five breathing, and I'll just flip my hand around here, is you start with your finger of the opposite hand on the bottom of your pinky.
Yeah. And
you breathe in, and when you breathe in, you move your finger all the way up, and then you pause.
Okay.
And then when you go down your finger, you breathe out, and then you repeat that pattern all the way through, and then you go back again and do the same thing.
Right.
And again, it's focusing on something. It's practicing breathing, and the purpose is to go slow, not fast. A lot of the kids want to go really, really, really fast and be the winner, right? But it's the winner is the one who goes the slowest.
Right.
So that one is, one of my most favorite ones, and the kids love that one. And then Aloha breathing is basically alternate nostril breathing. So you cover your nostril with the thumb, and then you breathe in through this nostril.
Okay.
You pause and you switch and you breathe out of the opposite side, and then you repeat that again. So breathing in,
Right.
pause, breathe out.
Oh, that's a really nice. I love that they
Yeah.
use no equipment. Like
None.
people are like, what? Like, no, you don't need equipment to do this.
Nothing. And
Yeah.
I usually say 5 or 10 big breaths. And I
Right.
say that because after about the third or fourth,
Yeah.
our bodies start to relax, our shoulders start to just drop, and we
Yeah.
really do feel a little bit more zen. And that's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those could be used in the classroom or at home, couldn't they?
Yes. Absolutely anywhere. And the squeeze breathing, no one has to know that you're doing it. So if a child loves it or an adult, you can do it anywhere you are, in the waiting room, at work, at your office, at home, in bed, anywhere. So it's really practical and free. And that's what I'm all about. Mindfulness doesn't have to cost anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Could you give us maybe an example of somebody that you've worked with that you've seen, some kind of transformation or real benefit that's helped the child in their life by taking in these new strategies?
Absolutely. I had a beautiful student. They're all beautiful. And I had one of these many beautiful students, and she was really shy. And she had a hard time at school and, socializing and fitting in. And just recently, she had to have surgery on her arm. And so she was really, really nervous. And the night before, she wrote me a note. The night before her surgery, she wrote me a note and gave it to me after her surgery. And it said that, she was really nervous, but she practiced all of the things that I had taught her, like breathing and focusing on things. And she said it made her feel really great and special, and she'll never forget the things that I taught her. Now, she's just a little older, but it's a lifelong skill. And I taught her 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And so she still remembers that. And then just the other day, she had a big test that she was nervous about, and she had to speak in public, right, with her classroom. And she called me and she just wanted to talk with me. And so we did some breathing over the phone, and we just kind of talked about visualizing and being positive. And when I talked to her mom the following day after her presentation, she did excellent. She did well. She was focused. She was calm, and she was doing her breathing before this. So it really helps. And I think a big success too is when parents back that up. Her mom also really encourages it and helps and supports that, because it's twofold. You're helping yourself as a parent, but also you're helping your child. So what can be wrong about that, right? Yeah. And that,
Story.
it melted my heart. Yeah.
I love, like we mentioned before, people are still going to go through difficult times.
Yeah.
Still going to have things like hospitals and tests and things, but having those strategies, and especially when they're developed, when the children are so young, and it's just automatic, isn't it? Those neural pathways are built in there, and
Yeah.
it's a natural thing to do. It's really a gift
It is.
for kids. So
Yeah.
so many adults are trying to fix
Yes.
what they've been taught when they were younger about how they manage emotions or talk about emotions and things.
Yeah.
And if we can get that right in preschool, I think it really will change the world. I think I saw a quote on your website from the Dalai Lama, right, that said,
Yes.
every 8-year-old practice meditation. Can't remember, we'd have world peace or something like that.
We would change the entire world in one generation.
Yeah, which is amazing, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So just a couple more things. Do you believe that we should create spaces in our homes, like particular spots? I have some parents that ask me, my house is chaotic, and how can we practice mindfulness. So do you think it's a good idea to create like a kind of calm area in your house or in your child's room?
That's such a good question, and I've been asked that many times too.
Okay.
So the first thing that I wanted to say was, first, let's create space in our hearts and our minds. Number one, when you have that space, anything is possible, right? I know you agree. And secondly, if you have a messy or busy or small or, you know, whatever you have, you just don't think that there's space, there is space. But you know, I have a little meditation cushion in the corner of my special sacred space. That's it. I don't need anything else. So it's a corner, and I like to sit right up in it. I back my back right up against the wall, and I get comfortable. I feather my nest, and I do my practice or my journaling or whatever. So that's an option too. But another option that I've suggested recently to a family that I was working with is a meditation kit or a mindfulness kit. So a shoebox or a little you know, container with mindful stuff, and you can grab that and take it anywhere that you want to go. I do think that if you have a ritual, a space that you can go to consistently the same time every day, it'll turn into a habit, right? And when you're talking about neural pathways, well, it takes about 21 days for the brain to create that new neural pathway. So when you create that habit and ritual, your brain starts to change for the better. So I think it's so important to try that. So try the different methods. If you don't have the space, grab a corner. If you really truly feel that there's no corner available, then make a little kit. And if you do this with your kids, it's a fun project. You're doing this together. You create it together, so they're invested in this because they really worked hard to make it and to make it great. And then you can pull it out anytime. So it's an alternative option that I find with lots of families has worked wonders.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I love flexibility, and it really is about what's working with you. And like I do a lot of work at schools in Hong Kong, and the classrooms are quite tiny, and so that's what we do, bring in these little kits that can come in and out, right? So that
Perfect.
We can still use them. So
Yeah.
I love. All right. Well, is there any one tip that you want to give parents that maybe are still saying, "Oh, it's such a huge topic, and I'll have to read all these books," and they're feeling like they can't get started because they don't know what's the first thing that they can do that's very simple at home, that really they don't need to read lots of books or do anything, do they? So I'll let you share some ideas of how they can just get started even today.
Sure. I love that. I love that question, and I get that asked all the time.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to read books. Absolutely. It's fantastic to, you know, increase your knowledge and awareness, but everything that you ever need to know is inside your heart and your mind. You can pull from that. And really, truly, and honestly, it starts with the choice. And the question I would like to ask anyone watching is, do you want to feel stress and anxiety, or do you want to feel calm, focused, and free? And I'm pretty sure most of us would say calm, focused, and free. Well, if you want to feel that way, then can you commit to just a minute a day of breathing, of quiet solitude, reflection, maybe meditation, you know, just really reflecting in a journal, or just sitting with yourself for just 1 minute a day? That's it. Can you commit to that? Even 30 seconds, and then build from that, because it's baby steps. There is time in the day. There absolutely is, because, you know, if we're driving a car, we have to stop for gas. We can't drive on empty, right? So don't drive on empty. Stop for gas. And gassing up is a little bit of self-care, a little bit of mindfulness, breathing for maybe a minute a day to start, and then build that up. So it's simple. It's very simple. And you set yourself up for success by starting small and then growing that practice and gaining momentum and time. So it's accessible for anybody, anytime.
I love that. I love the gassing up analogy. one before. That's a really good one. And it's so true, isn't it? We need to, and what I love is it's just moments. It's just moments. And
Yes.
30 seconds, everybody can find 30 seconds. And once you start doing it a few times and create habits, when you're opening the door, take a breath, then just try to link it with something else so that you remember to do it, because I think a lot of people say they start but then they forget to do it. They get so busy in their day. So it is about creating habits, isn't it, and rituals, so that you build those kind of skills.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Steph. Those were amazing ideas and lots of practical things that people can put into practice right away. And we will put down your links to your website. And Steph has provided some meditations that you can just go and listen to. They're beautiful. Are they for adults and kids, or more for adults?
Yeah. You know what? These recent ones are for adults, but I also, on my website, I have free meditations for children also. So there's tons of freebies for everybody.
Yeah, I saw you have a lot of content on our website, so go and have a look there.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for some. That might be a good start for some people as well to listen to some of those meditations you've created. So thank you. And thank you once again for being a guest. And it was really nice to learn all about your business and how you're helping change the world through mindfulness.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. And thanks to everyone for watching.